A Wikileaks document found within its global intelligence archives has been a topic of discussion for nearly 4 years. The document, attributed to the State Department's Office of European and Eurasian Affairs, is titled Report on the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics' Destruction of a Clandestine United States Base on the Moon. 2 years after an initial Freedom of Information Act request was submitted, the full document was officially declassified and released. Since its first appearance in the Wikileaks database and its subsequent discovery by users, the document has fueled widespread speculation regarding its true significance. Many found it particularly intriguing due to past discussions about classified lunar operations, including a historical proposal to detonate a nuclear bomb on the Moon. However, upon reviewing the document in detail, it becomes clear that it is not an official account of a secret Moon conflict, but rather a letter referencing a 1979 inquiry made by former House Representative Samuel Devine. The letter, written by Douglas J. Bennett Jr., then Undersecretary for Congressional Relations at the State Department, dismisses the claim that the Soviet Union destroyed a hidden US lunar facility in 1977, stating unequivocally that the allegation was false. Devine's inquiry was prompted by correspondence he received from a constituent, Said Quentin Arbogast, who referred to the alleged event as the Battle of the Harvest Moon. The original Freedom of Information Act request seeking information on this matter was submitted to the State Department in 2019. Subsequently, it was advised that the document be archived at the National Archives and Records Administration, where it would most likely be preserved due to its historical context. The document suggests that the US government kept the existence of this base a closely guarded secret, fearing international backlash and potential violations of treaties, which prohibits the militarization of celestial bodies. According to the account, only a select group of military and intelligence personnel knew of the base's existence, and all activities were carried out under the guise of other space missions. However, the document reveals that the Soviet Union somehow became aware of the base. US intelligence operatives were initially unsure how the Soviets learned about the lunar installation, but evidence suggested that Soviet spies had infiltrated key American space agencies or private contractors involved in the construction of the base. The US government believed the Soviets might have been planning their own covert moon mission, leading to heightened tensions. Insiders have said that the destruction of the base, as detailed in the document, had significant implications for US-Soviet relations. Despite the violent nature of the incident, both governments chose to avoid public confrontation. The US administration feared that disclosing the attack would not only violate certain laws, but also provoke a public outcry about the militarization of space. The Soviet Union, on the other hand, likely wanted to avoid being accused of attacking a manned facility, a potential violation of international law that could lead to diplomatic isolation. The document suggests that high-level diplomatic talks between the US and Soviet Union took place in secret to de-escalate the situation. Both sides agreed to bury the incident, with the understanding that further military actions in space could lead to catastrophic consequences for both nations. As a result, the US never publicly acknowledged the existence of the lunar base, and the Soviet Union never admitted responsibility for its destruction. The declassified document revealing the destruction of a secret US lunar base by the Soviet Union not only redefines the history of the space race, but also provides a compelling reason for the creation of modern space-based military strategies. The covert assault on this lunar base, a US lunar installation, exposed the vulnerabilities that nations face in space and underscored the need for greater control, defense, and security in this new domain. Many insiders who have studied these documents have said that this incident, hidden for decades, stands as one of the foundational events that motivated the establishment of the United States Space Force, a branch of the military focused entirely on protecting American interests beyond Earth's atmosphere. The destruction of this base is a stark reminder of the strategic and military importance of space. During the Cold War, both the United States and the Soviet Union recognized space as the ultimate frontier, not just for exploration, but for potential military superiority. The covert lunar incident demonstrated how space could easily become the next theater of warfare, with devastating consequences if one nation were to gain a foothold in outer space or on celestial bodies like the Moon. The Soviet Union's decisive and destructive response to the US lunar base highlighted how vulnerable space installations are to attack. This lunar base's fall was a wake-up call for the US military and government, showcasing the limitations of current defense strategies when applied to space. Despite technological advancements and the success of NASA's public missions, the covert operation exposed the US's lack of preparedness for defending space assets, leaving vital installations open to sabotage. With this in mind, the lunar base incident set the stage for future generations of military strategists and policymakers to consider space not merely as a domain for exploration, but as an operational environment that needed its own dedicated defense force. This realization would only grow stronger in the decades to come, as both the technology for space warfare advanced and new players, such as China and private space companies, entered the scene, adding more complexity and competition to the space race. Although the US Space Force was officially established in December 2019, the roots of its formation can be traced back to concerns that emerged long before its public creation. The covert destruction of the secret military lunar base and the understanding that space could easily become a contested battleground played a significant part in shaping the direction of US military policy in space. The US Space Force was created as a response to the growing realization that space was no longer a peaceful domain for scientific exploration alone. Just as the lunar base incident showed, space assets like satellites, space stations, and potential moon bases could become prime targets for future conflicts. Space, much like air, land, and sea, was now seen as a domain that required protection, control, and defense. According to military analysts, the lessons learned from the Cold War, particularly the destruction of the secret US lunar base, emphasized the need for a dedicated military force capable of managing the complexities of space warfare. The US Space Force was designed to ensure that American assets in space, both civilian and military, are protected from any potential threats, whether from state actors like Russia or China, or from rogue actors and non-state entities. By creating a dedicated force, the US could streamline its space defense strategy, unifying satellite operations, missile defense, and space intelligence under one umbrella. The Space Force's primary responsibilities include developing systems to deter or defend against attacks in space, ensuring the protection of US satellites and space-based communication systems, and monitoring potential threats from other countries or entities that could disrupt US interests in space. These objectives take direct inspiration from the vulnerabilities that were exposed during the covert lunar base incident, where a lack of space-based defense allowed a foreign power to destroy a critical asset. The exploration of space, particularly the moon, has captivated human imagination for decades. The public narrative of human lunar exploration revolves primarily around NASA's Apollo program. Between 1969 and 1972, 6 Apollo missions successfully landed astronauts on the moon. These historic achievements are some of the most well-documented and celebrated in the history of space exploration. After the Apollo 17 mission in December 1972, the United States effectively ended its manned moon landings, citing high costs and shifting priorities in space exploration. However, this abrupt end to manned moon landings has always puzzled many observers. The immense investments in the Apollo program, both in terms of technology and human capital, made it hard to believe that NASA or the US government would simply abandon lunar exploration after achieving success. Moreover, the moon, with its potential scientific value and strategic importance, seemed too valuable to leave unexplored for decades to come. This discrepancy has led some to believe that not all moon missions were made public. In recent years, declassified documents and whistleblower testimony have suggested that secret moon missions may have occurred under the radar of the public and mainstream media. These documents point to a variety of covert activities, ranging from secret reconnaissance missions to the installation of classified equipment on the moon. Although many of these documents remain heavily redacted, they provide tantalizing glimpses into the possibility of undisclosed lunar missions. Additionally, records from the Defense Intelligence Agency and the Central Intelligence Agency have also hinted at secret reconnaissance activities on the moon. These activities were reportedly conducted to monitor potential Soviet advances in lunar exploration, particularly during the height of the space race. Some of these documents refer to unmanned lunar operations, but the possibility of manned missions remains an open question. Adding fuel to the fire, are accounts from former NASA employees and military personnel who claim to have knowledge of secret moon missions. One such whistleblower, a former contractor at NASA, suggested that additional missions to the moon were undertaken under the guise of unmanned lunar operations. According to their testimony, some of these missions involved installing monitoring equipment and conducting experiments that were too sensitive to disclose publicly. They also hinted at the possibility that these missions were carried out by astronauts trained specifically for covert operations, separate from the well-known Apollo astronauts. Another source of speculation comes from Apollo astronauts themselves. In various interviews over the years, some astronauts have alluded to the presence of unexplained phenomena on the moon, as well as potential secret missions. For example, Apollo 14 astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell, a strong advocate for transparency in space exploration, often spoke cryptically about military involvement in space and the presence of classified information related to extraterrestrial life and unknown lunar activities. While these statements have not been confirmed as direct evidence of secret moon missions, they have added an element of mystery to the public's understanding of lunar exploration. One possibility is that secret moon missions were part of Cold War efforts to gain a strategic military advantage over the Soviet Union. The moon, located outside of Earth's immediate geopolitical reach, could serve as a platform for surveillance, missile detection, or even military installations. Keeping these missions secret would prevent the Soviet Union from developing countermeasures and maintain US dominance in space-related technologies. Another theory is that secret moon missions were undertaken for the purpose of mining or exploiting lunar resources. On September 11, 2016, a NASA photograph captured an image that was shared to UFO communities. The photo, taken by NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, appeared to show a massive four-armed object near the Sun, giving the impression of a giant UFO. As the image circulated online, many who saw it couldn't help but draw comparisons to the infamous alien tripod from H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds. The strange shape of the object, with what seemed like elongated arms or appendages extending outward, stirred discussions across social media, forums, and even news outlets. People wondered whether this was a sign of extraterrestrial life, a rare celestial phenomenon, or something else entirely. The image in question, which NASA released as part of its usual solar observation routine, was quickly picked up by UFO communities who analyze solar and heliospheric observatory photos for any irregularities. Unlike the typical lens flares, reflections, or cosmic rays that solar and heliospheric observatory images occasionally show, this object appeared distinct, symmetrical, and structured. It looked as though it had four arm-like extensions radiating from a central core, making it hard to dismiss as a simple artifact. Its positioning and shape led many to believe that this could not have been a random alignment of particles or a natural space object. The unique formation was especially striking against the vast backdrop of the Sun, further enhancing its seemingly artificial appearance. One of the reasons why this particular image resonated so deeply with viewers was its striking resemblance to the alien tripods depicted in War of the Worlds. H.G. Wells's alien tripods, as described in his novel, are three-legged war machines controlled by Martians, towering over the landscape as they unleash destruction upon Earth. While Wells's original vision was intended as science fiction, his description of a massive, multi-limbed alien machine stuck with readers and became an iconic symbol in popular culture. When the NASA photo circulated, people began comparing this four-armed object to the tripods, and the idea of a lurking extraterrestrial machine gained a certain eerie allure. For many, the association with Wells's creation made the potential of an alien origin feel all the more plausible, fueling theories that this structure could be an interstellar machine or vessel capable of harnessing solar energy. Several theories emerged to explain what this four-armed UFO could be. Among the most prominent was the idea that it was an advanced alien probe or spacecraft observing our solar system, using the Sun's energy to refuel or to study solar activity. This theory was rooted in the observation that the object seemed unusually close to the Sun, where no human-made spacecraft could withstand the intense heat and radiation. If it were indeed an alien craft, it would suggest a level of technology far beyond our own. The notion that such an object could exist so close to our Sun without being incinerated sparked debates among enthusiasts, as many speculated that the craft must have some form of advanced shielding or energy-absorbing technology. Another prevalent theory suggested that this four-armed shape might be a Dyson-like structure. Named after the physicist Freeman Dyson, a Dyson sphere is a hypothetical megastructure built around a star to capture its energy. Dyson speculated that advanced civilizations might construct such structures to harness energy on a grand scale. Though a complete Dyson sphere surrounding the Sun would be visible and obvious, the four-armed structure in the NASA photo led some to theorize that it might be a more partial, movable construct. Perhaps a smaller energy-collecting array set close to the Sun to draw power directly. This idea excited many who believed that extraterrestrial civilizations could have developed large, complex machines for energy capture that resembled this object. While many people were open to the idea of an extraterrestrial origin, skeptics offered alternative explanations rooted in the natural sciences and the technical intricacies of solar imaging. Some argued that the object could be a result of pixelation or compression artifacts within the camera's processing system, which can sometimes produce unusual shapes when light or radiation interacts with the camera's sensors. However, those who believed in the UFO explanation pointed out that similar four-armed shapes had appeared in other NASA images over the years, creating a pattern that seemed less like random anomalies and more like recurring sightings. This pattern bolstered the argument that, whatever it was, this object had made multiple appearances near the Sun, suggesting it was not a one-time coincidence. Proponents of the UFO theory argued that these recurring sightings hinted at intentionality, as if an interstellar visitor was making periodic stops in our solar system to monitor or refuel near the Sun. In response to the intense speculation, NASA released a statement clarifying that what people saw was likely a cosmic ray hitting the sensor or a processing artifact, common occurrences in images taken near the Sun. NASA's explanation did little to deter UFO enthusiasts, however. For many, the official clarification seemed like a predictable response aimed at calming public curiosity without genuinely addressing the possibility of extraterrestrial life. This added to a sense of distrust, with some arguing that NASA might be concealing the existence of extraterrestrial technology or, at the very least, downplaying unusual phenomena in space. The image of the four-armed UFO remains a captivating point of discussion among UFO researchers and enthusiasts. For some, it represents a momentary glimpse of something truly extraordinary, a sign of life or intelligence beyond Earth, captured unknowingly in a simple photograph. For others, it stands as a reminder of the power of imagination and the human tendency to see patterns or meanings in random visuals. The appearance of mysterious objects near the Sun is far from a new phenomenon. For decades, UFO enthusiasts and researchers have documented sightings of unidentified objects around the Sun, often using NASA's Solar and Heliospheric Observatory and Solar Dynamics Observatory images as primary sources. These objects, sometimes spherical, angular, or even shaped like massive structures, have spurred extensive debate. Their proximity to the Sun, an intensely hostile environment with extreme heat and radiation, makes the sightings all the more intriguing, as no known human-made craft could survive such conditions. Historically, reports of unidentified objects near the Sun date back to early space observation missions. In the 1950s and 1960s, as astronomers used increasingly advanced telescopes to observe solar activity, some reported strange anomalies, such as small, darkened spots that moved independently of the Sun's solar flares or planetary bodies. These early sightings were often dismissed as optical illusions or limitations of observational technology. The Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, a collaborative project between NASA and the European Space Agency, was designed to study the Sun and provide real-time images of solar activity. Almost immediately after the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory began transmitting images, UFO hunters began spotting unusual objects that didn't align with known celestial bodies, solar flares, or cosmic rays. Some objects appeared to have a structured form, resembling spacecraft or mechanical constructs rather than random debris. One of the earliest high-profile sightings occurred in the late 1990s, when the Solar and Heliospheric Observatory images revealed a massive angular object hovering near the Sun. This sparked the first major wave of theories about extraterrestrial technology using the Sun's energy, a concept that has since become a cornerstone of UFO lore. Some of these objects seemed almost geometrically perfect, leading some to speculate that they might be interstellar probes, alien spacecraft, or even parts of a massive Dyson swarm, a concept in which smaller structures orbit a star to collect energy. This theory suggests that an advanced civilization might have constructed a fleet of small structures near the Sun to harvest solar power. One sighting in particular, often called the Cube UFO, drew significant attention in 2011. A massive cube-like object appeared near the Sun, sparking theories that it might be an alien structure. The cube seemed to be moving slowly across the solar surface and was visible for several frames of SDO footage before vanishing. NASA later explained the sighting as a processing error caused by cosmic rays interacting with the camera's sensors, but the sighting had already become part of the growing mythos surrounding solar UFOs. The apparent structural forms of these objects have led many to reject natural or optical explanations. For example, in 2012, a large, spherical object with a dark center appeared in solar and heliospheric observatory images, and it appeared to be draining energy from the Sun in one frame before disappearing in the next. This led to a popular theory that the object might have been refueling, possibly gathering solar plasma for an unknown purpose. NASA dismissed the sighting as a typical coronal cavity, which is a common feature of the Sun's atmosphere. However, UFO researchers argued that the spherical object's distinct separation from the Sun's surface indicated something more unusual, sparking theories of an advanced refueling station or even a gigantic craft. Critics argue that many of these objects are simply artifacts, errors in data processing, cosmic rays hitting sensors, or digital distortions. These technical explanations have not deterred believers, who argue that, given the consistency and frequency of sightings, there must be more to the phenomenon than simple artifacts. While NASA's explanations often rely on well-documented observational challenges, the number of anomalous sightings close to the Sun continues to intrigue both skeptics and believers alike. Theories about these solar UFOs have also drawn from the work of renowned physicists and astronomers. The persistent sightings of UFOs near the Sun have woven a rich tapestry of speculation, scientific inquiry, and imaginative hypotheses. Whether they are cosmic illusions, natural anomalies, or something beyond human comprehension, these sightings continue to captivate the public. Each new discovery, whether supported or refuted by scientific explanation, adds to the allure of the unknown and challenges our assumptions about life and technology beyond Earth. Comet Leonard's visibility is diminishing, but it is not leaving without a final spectacle. Recently, it reached its closest point to Earth on December 12th, providing excellent opportunities for observation. As the comet progresses through the inner solar system, a remarkable change has occurred. The comet's tail now exhibits a twisted, streamer-like appearance, while its core continues to grow brighter. However, during the event, NASA captured an intriguing image of an unusual occurrence between Earth and Venus. Online spectators who witnessed the event reported the emergence of a substantial shield-like object during Comet Leonard's closest approach. The camera named Stereo H2 captured this footage, and it is evident that a significant structure emerges between Earth and Venus. Positioned on the left side of the screen, Venus is accompanied by Earth on the right. As Comet Leonard made its way near Earth, an intriguing development occurred. A remarkable construction seemingly arose, resembling a massive structure enveloping our planet. This structure even obstructed some of the comet's tail from reaching Earth, garnering noteworthy attention and speculation. The peculiarity of this video lies in the sudden appearance of a shield-shaped object when Comet Leonard becomes visible. Some speculate that this object serves as a form of protection for Earth, shielding it from the comet or any potential space debris. It is worth noting that this is not the first instance where the stereo camera has detected this mysterious object. In March 2020, while observing the Lagoon Nebula alongside Venus and Earth, an intriguing image was captured. The shared photographs generated considerable excitement, with individuals noting the resemblance of the object to a massive wheel. Furthermore, it seemed to emit a beam in front of it, prompting speculation that it could be a form of protection against space debris aimed at safeguarding our planet. The video captured by the Stereo B spacecraft's telescope, which is operated by NASA, is intriguing due to its direct source. These probes are positioned on opposite sides of the Sun, aiding NASA and other scientists in studying the inner mechanisms of the solar system. They are particularly valuable for observing celestial objects that pass near Earth. As mentioned, this enigmatic triangular entity has approached us on previous occasions. A knowledgeable and neutral audience will find it informative to learn that someone mentioned the sighting of a wheel that resembled the provided image, but NASA dismissed it as unremarkable. What stands out is that the wheel only becomes visible when the comet aligns with Earth. This individual expressed their viewpoint, stating the following: "These images and videos were sourced directly from NASA, leaving no room for doubt regarding their origin. I am completely clueless as to the identity and the process by which this object takes shape.